Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. How are y'all today? Alright, so today the setup is a bit different. I have a nice glass whiteboard behind me, so if need be I can write on the whiteboard. Again, those who are new to SGC, welcome. So we have short puja, Pali chanting, afternoon May. Who else is there? Okay, the camera is, the phone is a bit far from me today, so I need to really look up. Hello Sharon Lee. So, got a marker? Okay, good. So, so we have the short puja, short meditation, and then Dhamma sharing. The time, what's the time now? Oh, already? Not so long. What time did we start?
2:10.
Oh, we started only at 2:10.
The meditation.
Oh, you mean as in like we started the session at 2:10?
No, we started at about 2.
2 o'clock?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we'll finish at about 3:30. Well, today we started a bit late because there was some shifting today, and then at lunch unpacking and stuff like that. I see Brennan. Good afternoon, Brennan. Sue Moy. Yeah, good to see you all online. So today's topic, I have a few topics in mind today actually, and I thought maybe you all can vote on it. But before we go into that, I will not be talking about the virus today, okay? Because I think there's been quite a lot of Dhamma talk covering the virus, and the other day I was reminded of something about falling sick. Yeah, and it is that when I was much younger, when I fall sick, the first person I would go to is my mother, and then she will do a preliminary check, find out what is the symptoms, like what is wrong, and then she'll determine whether I need to go and see a doctor, or whether homemade remedy is all I need. And sometimes I don't need to see a doctor, sometimes I need to. But either case, for the next few days I'll be having porridge with Marmite. Yeah, the sick person's food at home. And then I will, sort of take my time to recover, right? And after a few days, when my mom thinks that I'm well enough, she will kind of like nudge me to get back to a normal schedule. But me being me, a young kid, when you are not feeling well, then you want to laze around. You don't want to do normal things, And one day my mom would say, "No, you can't have porridge anymore. You must eat normal food." Then I'm like, "Why?" Then she says like, if you continue eating just the food that you are eating when you are sick, then you'll never recover also. You need to eat normal food and get used to it, and then you will recover. Yeah. So in somewhat a similar way, we cannot keep on talking about virus. Otherwise it's always over our head. Yeah. So today there are 2 or 3 topics I thought of that maybe you all can vote on. Yeah. So the first one is to do with the first noble truth. Yeah. In particular, so in the Pali Canon, there are a few categorization of the first noble truth of suffering. So maybe I can write it down so that you all have some idea what I'm talking about. So we have the first noble truth of suffering. Is it clear? Can you all see? Oh, actually it's not very clear. Can see or not? Cannot see, huh? Oh, lag now. I think this marker is also quite 有限公司. Maybe I have to find a darker one. Yeah. Let me see whether this works better. Ah. Can you all see? Or is it flicked? Is the video the right way around? Or is it flicked? Flip lah. Then flip you all cannot see also. Is there a way to flip it around? Mirror image Yeah. Is it correct? You all can see suffering. Yeah, first noble truth of suffering. The rest I cannot write. I just I cannot write so many words opposite. Okay, so as you all know, the 8 kinds of suffering. So in Chinese, 生老病死苦，爱别离苦，冤憎会苦，求不得苦，无运炽盛苦。Use the back camera. That's also an idea, but then I cannot see myself. I mean, not that I want to see myself, but I want to make sure that maybe you all can lend me one phone so that I can see what you are seeing, but it will be a bit of lag. So, okay, let me try. Okay, so I need one of your phone. Pass me your phone to see. You thought Sifu is left-handed. Okay, now it looks okay. So I'm going to just use this so I can see roughly. So number five is 爱别离苦. So let me repeat in English first. So first of all, we have birth, aging, sickness and death. Then we have separation from loved ones, contact with unpleasant ones, not getting what one wants. All that is suffering. In brief, the 5 clinging aggregates is suffering. So today I'm not going to go through all 8, but I want to zoom into one particular one, and that is the number 5, separation from loved ones. So I think many times when we learn about this number 5, maybe let me write it on the screen. So birth, aging, sickness and death. Then we have, I'm going to erase the opposite one. So we have the 8, and the one that we're going to focus on is number 5, separation from loved ones. Yeah. So many times when we learn about this, we tend to think in terms of our loved ones passing away. Yeah. So that is true also. But there's one more category within this which I thought is also helpful, and it is where our loved ones stop being our loved ones. What do I mean by that? So in particular, I'm talking about relationships. It can be romantic relationships, it can be normal friendships. Yeah. We have friends. Someone wrote 4 Noble Truth PF suffering. Why do you have to write that down? I thought it's quite clear up there. So when we if we consider, let's say among friends, yeah, friendship, is friendship permanent? Not permanent. Yeah, friendship comes and goes. Yeah, some friendships can last a long time. I've been fortunate to have friends going all the way back to secondary schools. Yeah, I've known them for 30 over years. So I'm very grateful for the friendship. I have friends dating back from university. I have friends from my work time. So that's like close to 20 years back. And then I have students and friends after I ordained. Yeah, and I'm sure we all have friends from different time periods. Yeah. So sometimes friends, when there are conditions, then we know each other. Then you become friends. You start from acquaintances, you become friends, and so on and so forth. Yeah. But do all our friendships last forever? Huh? If you have come to a certain age, you will know that is nice to have, but not necessarily going to happen. Yeah. Now, when it comes to friends, sometimes we drift apart. Yeah, we drift apart maybe because our interests change, or circumstances change. Yeah, and so when conditions change, then we drift apart. Yeah, that's very normal. And if we are okay with it, then no problem. Yeah, and then one day maybe conditions come back together, then we become friends again, right? You think about it. Are your friends with your friends 24/7? No, right? Yeah. When you are at home sleeping, are you friends with anyone? No, right? The so-called friendship is still there, but you're not friend constantly, isn't it? So even if you lost contact with a friend, it's just an extended version of you sleeping. You think about it, right? But sometimes we can get so caught up. Yeah, we are not ready to let the friendship take a rest. Yeah. So we're going to come back to this later, or to revisit this. Another kind of friendship then is even more tricky. Yeah, it's trickier, which is relationships. Yeah, relationships. In the past 10 over years, I've counseled different couples. Yeah, and just yesterday, I saw this piece of news. A student in NUS, this student, I think medical student. The details are not so crucial, and I probably share the link later. Is in the news. The girl wants to break up, and the guy cannot accept it, So he sneaked into her house, climbed into the house, and then confronted her. Sort of confronted her, bought her flowers, kneeled down, and all the works. And when she still refused, he turned violent. Yeah, he turned violent. He strangled her, and then she screamed. At some point, he even hurt her. Yeah, pressed her left eye until it bleed, until it bled. Yeah. Yesterday when I read it, I thought, wow. Yeah. So this topic is something that I had wanted to talk about, and yesterday I saw this piece of news, and I thought that is, now, if you all go and read that piece of news, I don't know how you all feel about it. I think it's sad, of course, but I think most of us, when we read it, we don't think that we are going to do that. Most people don't think they're going to do that. If you ask small kids, what do you want to do when you grow up? Small kids will say, oh, when I grow up, I want to be a policeman, I want to be a nurse, I want to be a teacher, I want to be an astronaut, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Nobody, I haven't heard of any kids who say, oh, when I grow up, I want to beat up my wife, I want to beat up my husband. Yeah. If my girlfriend or boyfriend or husband or wife, they dump me, they decide to change their mind, I want to beat them up. Yeah. I think nobody want to think about that. Yeah. Nobody would in their childhood think, oh, in future I want to do that. Yeah. And even when we grow up, I don't think we start off a relationship thinking of that, isn't it? Yeah. So it got me thinking. Yeah. This is actually, separation with loved ones. Not suggesting that separation from with loved ones is a trivial matter. I think it's not easy. Yeah. But the question I want to get everyone to think about is, when it does happen, what can you do? Yeah. Whether you accept or you don't accept, what can you do? What can we do? If we distill it down, it is basically the other person changing the mind, isn't it? In the Heart Sutra class, I often joke about this famous line in the movies last time in the 70s or 80s, 你变心了. Yeah. And then, but if you think about it, our mind, the Buddha teaches us 观心无常. 观心无常. So under the 4 foundations of mindfulness, under the 别观, Sen, So, Xin, Fa, 观心无常. Is it inside? Yeah, I think it's still inside. Yeah, so body, feelings, mind, and phenomena. Mental phenomena. So to contemplate how the mind is impermanent. Now it doesn't mean that body, feelings and phenomena is permanent, but in particular the Buddha advised us to contemplate on how the mind is very transient. In the Pali Canon, the Buddha described how the mind changes. The mind changes so rapidly. But Some of you may say, easy for you to say lah, Sifu. Huh? It's easy to say when we are not on the receiving end, isn't it? Always easier to say. But if it's right, or rather if it's wrong, even if you are not on the receiving end, then it's still wrong. The fact that you can say when you are not on the receiving end, it means that it is actually true. It's just that it's difficult to accept when you're on the receiving end. The fact that it's difficult to accept doesn't make it wrong. It's just like if you are supposed to take a flight, but you woke up late, or you're stuck in a traffic jam, and so you miss the flight. When you go to the gate has closed, the ground crew refuse to let you board. It is difficult to accept. Maybe not as difficult as being dumped, not as difficult as being separated from your loved ones, where your loved one decided to be happy with somebody else, or your loved one decided that the person want to be single for a while, or the loved one decided to fall sick, or the loved one decided to die. Maybe not decided, but the loved one died. There are many reasons, many circumstances how we get separated. Yeah. And I don't say that missing your flight is comparable or is the same as having your loved one change their mind. Yeah. But just because it's difficult to accept that you miss your flight and you have to wait for another few hours and maybe even pay for a new ticket, it doesn't make it wrong. The fact that you miss your flight, then that's it. You have to ask yourself, okay, so what else do you want to do? Yeah, thanks Mikey. Yeah, just because it's difficult to accept doesn't make it untrue. Yeah. So if you follow me with this thought experiment, if you miss the flight and the gate has closed and the plane is taxiing away on the runway and taking off, and then you scream and shout, you kick up a fuss, you can do that. I'm not saying it's right, but it's your life. If you want to do that, what can I do, right? Shifu cannot go to all the airports and then stop everybody from doing that. But as much as we can do that, doing that will not get the flight to come back. Doing that does not change the fact that you missed the flight. And if you have missed the flight, you have to ask yourself, what's the next best thing? I'm going to be known as the Laksa monk and the next best thing monk, and also the pooping monk, the dog poo monk. What's the next best thing? Okay, like hypothetically speaking, in this type of experiment, I want you all to just reply. If you miss the flight, would you A, kick up a big fuss at the counter, insist that they fly the plane back, or would you say try to ask them whether they can put you on the next flight, and if possible, minimize your loss? Like if you ask nice enough, maybe they can, put you on the next flight free of charge on the house. They can maybe find some special clause to, waive the fee. Yeah. Of course, if you get a budget ticket, then if you miss, Yeah. Yeah. So some of you say you feel helpless. Yes, I'm sure you can feel helpless. But yeah, ask for the next solution. Because maybe the next flight out is not possible, because maybe that particular airline only fly once a week. Yeah. Find the next earliest flight. Yes. Because if you do that, then you shorten the duration where you're off course. Because ultimately what you want is to be somewhere else, isn't it? In this thought experiment. What you don't want to be doing is spending time at the airport. Right? So go for the next, yes, Wilson. Sean, Wilson, Shalin, yeah. And maybe if it's not with this airline, maybe this airline only fly once a week. Are you ready to wait for 1 week? You know? Yeah? Or maybe you want to find another airline. Or find the next shortest route. Maybe you may not want to take a flight. Like if you're in China, maybe you want to take the Gaotie, you know? Or if you're in France, take the TGV. In Japan, take the Shinkansen or something, I don't know. And if you were to, Nancy Long says, go to drink coffee. Reminds me of my university prof. He said, every time you get stuck with a problem, and you try, you cannot solve it, take a step back, go and take a break, drink some coffee, come back and look at the problem again. And I tell you, that is one of the best advice I've learned from university. I mean, besides all the subjects and all the technical knowledge, you know. Yeah, because I'll tell you, many times when we are so fixated on our way of how things should be, when we are so fixated, we lose perspective, you know. We forget what we really want. We get stuck with what we think we want, the way we want it. When we take a break and then go and drink coffee and come back, then we're like, hey, wait a minute, I can do it another way. Now you may not want to drink coffee, okay? maybe you want to drink tea, or maybe you just want to drink plain water, whatever works for you, okay? Yeah. Esther C asks, continue Dhamma Sutra lesson. Okay, I will address this at the end of the SGC session at 3:30. Okay, I will address that later. Okay, when some miss their flights, they can go absolutely mental. Like it post. Yeah, there are people who are like that, you know. Unfortunately, yes. It's hard for so many to let go of their fixed ideas. They want to change the past. Yes, this is a thing, you know. And I'm not here to tell you you cannot change the past. And if a crazy idea I've been sharing with people recently is, you know what? If getting angry about something actually solve the problem, at least that's a good reason to get angry. I'm not saying it's right, huh? Just on the record, this monk is not telling people to get angry, okay? It is about asking yourself very honestly, does getting angry actually solve the problem? Number one. If it doesn't, then why get angry? Yeah, why get angry? Because once you get angry, now you have two problems. The original problem and your anger. And possibly people around you getting upset or frightened off or whatever. Now, even if getting angry does solve the problem, you should always ask yourself, if it can be solved by getting angry, can it be solved by not getting angry? Solving a problem by not getting angry may sometimes require you to put in more effort, more time, and perhaps more resources. But it doesn't have subsequent problems. Yeah. So coming back to the flight, the proverbial flight. After you drink your coffee, you come back and you look at it and say, you may at the end of the day think, you know what, maybe I don't need to go to that place. Yeah. Or maybe you may think, okay, perhaps I can take another flight. Yeah, I can wait a few hours, or I can fly by another airlines. And if we bring all this analogy over to relationships, what does it mean? What is the implication? It means that if at some point in time there is a change, I'm not asking you to not get angry, because If it's so simple, then who would actually get angry, right? If all it takes is for Sifu to say, don't get angry, then all of you don't get angry. Then don't get angry lah. But last I checked, it doesn't work that way. So instead of telling you to not get angry, I say, okay, you want to spend, how much time do you want to spend getting angry? How much time do you want to spend at the at the counter getting angry? Meanwhile, your plane has flown off. In the case of relationship, that person has flown off already. Even if the person is physically with you, the person's heart has flown off, with other passengers. so you got to ask yourself, are you actually still on the flight? If you're not, then you have got to ask yourself, you're actually not on the flight, then you are actually at the check-in counter and being rejected. It doesn't feel good. Nobody likes to go to the counter and be rejected, right? Yeah. But if that is happening, do you want to stay the night there, hoping? Yeah. You can try that. Just stay there. You say, no, if you don't get me on the same flight, I'm going to just camp here. And if you do that, just imagine, okay, just imagine with me. Imagine you stay at the check-in counter and just, and maybe you make yourself really comfortable. Get a coffee, sit down there. But you're still not getting anywhere, You must know that you're still not getting anywhere. And we are assuming that they don't call security on you. Now, so ask yourself, do you want your life to be just about the check-in counter? Where if you imagine your life as a journey, you live your life doing all kinds of things, pursuing this, pursuing that, pursuing your dreams, and helping people, making your life meaningful, useful, and interesting. And then suddenly you reach this roadblock. And you reach this roadblock where something happened in your relationship. And then you decide to what? You decide to just let the rest of your life be about the check-in counter, about the flight that you miss. Think about it. I'm not here to tell you it's wrong, I'm just inviting you to think about it. And at the end of the day, if you decide that the rest of the chapters of your life, it's okay for you to just have the next chapter, the next chapter, and so on, all about the check-in counter and the missed flight. That's your choice. That's really your choice. Except that there are other choices. Why don't you think about other choices? Why don't you write the next chapter about some other flights, some other adventure that you can be on, some other planes that actually welcome you on board? Yeah. And if all fails, you can go and look for a monastery. Now some people will say, wow, Sifu, so is it true that all monks and nuns, cannot make it in relationships to become monks and nuns? That's not true also. Sifu, maybe because as babies, when they do not get what they want, they get angry or upset, and adults will give in. So it becomes a habit. Yeah, that's why I share at parenting class, Yeah. Not just babies, even young toddlers, young kids, even teenagers. You know how when someone, I would say not just kids, because some kids are quite mature. If they don't get it, they don't get it, and they accept, and they do something else. So it's not just kids, because I've seen adults, when they don't get what they want, wow, they kick up, wow, So yes, unfortunately, if since young, every time they kick up a tantrum, and they get what they want, then they end up learning the wrong lesson. They end up learning that, oh, as long as I kick up a tantrum, then I will get what I want. So that could be one of the reasons. And unfortunately, I've counseled couples before where this is what one of the two actually have the kind of mindset. Yeah. So think about it. Yeah. First question is it easy for us to accept people changing their mind? Yeah. Let's start not with relationships, okay? Let's start with, let's say, your friend asks you to leave kopi. Yeah. Your friend texts you and say, hey, are you free this Saturday? Let's go and drink coffee. And I say, okay, sure. You know, and maybe you go out of your way, move your schedule around to go for coffee. And then on Friday, the person changed their mind. Yeah. Friday night, hey, Lockjaw, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I can't make it. Doreen, can't, so sorry, I can't make it. Yeah. Don't feel so good, isn't it? Yeah. Can you accept it? Yeah. What I mean is, we start off with something trivial first. Your friend asking you to have coffee. Because if even at that level, a friend asking you to have coffee, you cannot accept that people can change their mind, then you're in trouble, you know. Then how can you accept if your spouse, your partner, or anyone change their mind on something more important? I'm not saying it's okay or it's right to just be flippant and change our mind around. I'm saying that because it does happen, and when people do change their mind, you know, 观心无常, the mind is impermanent. You know, ask yourself, 将心比心, in Chinese we say, yeah, compare your own mind with others' mind. Compare your own self with others. Do we change our mind? Say yes. Online participants, type yes. Yeah, you think about it, we change our mind as well, isn't it? We try to give others due notice. Yeah, even companies can change their mind, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, May has said yes. Sean says, me don't feel good at the time. No need to make another person don't feel good also. Yeah. Yeah. Vivian Lee say, yes, we can change our mind. Yes. We do change our mind. So if we can change our mind, why can't others change our mind? And let's turn it around. If let's say it's a coffee appointment and somehow something crop up, okay, and we wish to change our mind, we would hope that others will be more graceful to accept our change, isn't it? So if we then flip it around, when others do change their mind, we should also be graceful to accept that. When I tell you this, actually a part of it is I find that sharing the teachings, sharing the Dharma is a lot, teaching myself also, reminding myself also. Yeah, because sometimes I'm quite fixated also. Yeah, like if someone has arranged a schedule with me, I sometimes get a bit mangzang, Yeah, so I've been trying to rewire myself, to remind ourselves that, hey, it's okay. People can change their mind. Yeah, people can change their mind. Yeah, so for one, know that people can change their mind. Two, when people do change their mind, we should learn to be graceful about it. And then further, to learn not to randomly change our mind lah. Yeah, we cannot expect people to be graceful to accept. Then we just suka, Yeah, we ask people to meet at 3 o'clock and then 2:55. I'm so sorry, I cannot make it. I don't think that's very nice. And you know what? Even then, I don't come and tell you that it's wrong. It's just that there are consequences. if one time you do this, 2 times you do this, 3 times you do this, after a while, people don't take you seriously. When we talk about right speech, it's not that there's some overarching agent that is monitoring our speech and then punishing us or rewarding us, Because if you don't go by your decisions and you flippantly just 张雪君 say 补救 yeah lah, you gotta keep a lookout ma. Yeah. Anyway, for those who just come online, you can actually go back to the start and watch from the start, I think. Yeah. So on one hand, be graceful when people change. On the other hand, if we are on the receiving end, we should be graceful when people change their mind. But on our own side, we should try to honor our words. Yeah. Sometimes I tell people this. Like they try to make an appointment to meet me, to consult me, or something, and then they say that, can I confirm with you later? Or they say, I'm not sure whether I'm free that day. Then I'm like, so do you have anything on? I say, no, not yet. Then I said, that's the whole point of booking the time, right? That's the whole point of scheduling, isn't it? So enough about this. Then we say, okay, with all this being said, slowly you have to train yourself. Yeah. And again I say, missing an appointment like coffee appointment, lunch appointment is nothing compared to a breakup of a relationship. Okay, it's not the same. I'm not saying it's the same. But there's a part of it which is the same, which is that people change their mind. It's just that the subject itself is something closer to heart, something that we hold on more strongly. Yeah. But you must remember, it's the same in other aspects. If you had arranged to meet your friend at Starbucks in Dhoby Ghaut or whatever, I don't know, I just randomly think, and then it's supposed to be 3 o'clock. And then at 2:55, and you arrive early, okay? And then at 2:55, your friend texts you, oh, so sorry, I can't make it. Are you going to just stay there at Starbucks and then be upset for the rest of the day and say, no, I'm staying here. You don't come, I will still stay here. We have arranged to meet here from 3 o'clock to 3:45 to 4 o'clock. Yeah, we arranged to meet up, then after go for movie. So I'm going to be here. 不见不散. Yeah. Meanwhile, your friend didn't even read your message. Only one tick. You send a message and then only one tick, and then you make a call. Then how? You're gonna just sit there and be upset with yourself, upset with your friend. Meanwhile, maybe your friend is somewhere else. I don't say that your friend always has good reasons, okay? Maybe your friend really 放你鸽子嘞. There are people who always, when people try to counsel us, they always say, no lah, maybe your friend really have something urgent leh, maybe the mother fall sick leh, maybe this and that. I like to go the other way around. Oh, Sean is really at Dhoby Ghaut. So Sean is someone 放你鸽子. Did anyone 放你的鸽子? I don't like to give the kind of example where I try to rationalize for people. I don't say that that's wrong, but I think everybody who try to so-called counsel us tend to go in that direction. I don't really like to go in that direction, because that direction means that person have valid reasons. That's why we cannot be angry. I like to go in the other direction where the person have no good reasons, and yet we should not be angry. Think about it. The usual approach is to find excuses for that person, or reasons, rationale, valid reasons, and then we say that's why I'm not angry. I'm suggesting to consider worst case scenario. The person woke up late the person had a prior appointment, but the appointment was so interesting, don't find you so interesting, oh. 师傅, how can you say that? I mean, it happens, you know. Don't think you think you're so interesting. It happens, what? No, maybe it doesn't happen, okay? But I'm saying that's a bad scenario, isn't it? But if it does happen, if the other person had lunch with someone else, had intended to have coffee with you, but that friend was so interesting, they were, you know, having so much fun, they decided to just call yours off. Then how? That should be good enough reason for you to be really upset, isn't it? I'm saying, despite that, we shouldn't be upset. We shouldn't waste our time being upset. If a person don't find you interesting enough to be on time, if the person don't find you important enough to turn up for the appointment at all, then why are you wasting more time on that person? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Shifu, so we must always reflect ourselves. Yes, indeed, Esther. But self-reflection is not easy. Yeah, self-reflection is not easy. And bear in mind, when we say self-reflection, sometimes there's a tendency for us to think, oh, Shifu, you're trying to tell us that the fault lies with ourselves. No, I'm not saying that as well. I'm merely saying, ask yourself, what do you want at the end of the day? Yeah. What do you want what do you want at the end of the day? And if you cannot get that, then do the next best thing. If you're already at Starbucks, then have coffee, enjoy the coffee. Don't if you're already at Starbucks, then order coffee. If you're at Coffee Bean, order Coffee Bean. If you are at, I don't know, Mr. Bean, order some soy bean. Have a good time. You know, don't ruin your afternoon just because people don't turn up. And if you can do that, then nobody can ever get you upset over not turning up for your appointment. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so it's really about choices. Yeah, it's really about choices. So ask yourself, you know. Oh wait, that's seems to be an interesting comment. Oh, Biling Tan says it's okay, let it go, don't get stuck in a toilet bowl. Oh, it rhymes. Alvin Tan, humble thoughts. Cause everything in life has two sides, just like a coin. Two sides means 50-50. 50 is others' fault, 50 is our fault. So if we can't control others, we control the other 50. Well, sometimes it's 50-50. Sometimes it's a bias coin, you know. Yeah, bias coin in a sense. Sometimes it's really that person's fault. Yeah, but we are responsible for our own emotions. Yeah. No? So we have 15 minutes left. That's the gist of what I wanted to share. Yeah. If you can understand, you can understand, and I hope this can help you. But if you cannot understand, or if you still think that you want to stay at the check-in counter and kick up a big fuss over the missed flight, that's your choice. You know, that's your choice. But you must know that once the flight has taken off, it's taken off. Yeah. You're not getting on that flight. Okay, so we have 15 minutes more, and I want to open up for Q&A. So if you have questions, you can write into the comments, and then I will try to touch on it. Meanwhile, I'll drink my tea. I strive to be the better person that others will value us. Yes. That's a very interesting point. When I've shared this in SGC before. Those who are now, the fact that this is going to be this live online, I don't know how many of you will actually be upset, but I have heard from female students that when women are unsure of the relationship, they are not sure whether their boyfriend is very into them, whether the husband is into them, whether they still love them, feel the same way. I heard, okay, don't fault me, but I heard that some women at least, will do this. They will give the husband, the boyfriend, a terrible time. I don't know how true this is. Ladies who are online, guys and ladies, you all can comment. Yeah. When I first heard this, I was like, what? Why would you do that? And the student told me, like, well, if my boyfriend really care about me, even when I give them a lot of rubbish, they will still, try to like work things out with me. I'm like, what? What do you mean? He said, yeah, if the person really loved me, then the person will still, try. So I'm like, I don't know about you guys, but what I observe in many cases, you think about it, if you're at work and you're not sure whether your boss like your performance, do you then give your boss shit? Or do you try to find out what your boss need from you, what the company need from you? Even Lee says, I wouldn't do that. Oh, I'm very happy for you. Yeah, so my student said, oh, of course I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that at work. And then I asked, then why do you do that to your boyfriend? And he's like, well, boyfriend ma. Or something. Now this sounds like a joke, but this is real. I have counseled many couples, and you have no idea how many times when things are not well, then they do more things that is hurtful to each other. So just now Sean said that I will strive to be the better person that others will value us. Yeah, you think about it, if things are not going well and then you start to do strange things, you start to flare up, you start to give a lot of venting, and how does that make us more attractive in the case of relationship? How does that make the other person want us more? I don't know. Yeah. So of course, on a case by case basis, relationships are complicated. So let's see. Lord John is watching. Serene Chu, I strive to be hate knowledge, but application in real life is challenging. Yes, indeed. Application in real life is always the challenge, isn't it? Okay. Any more questions? If we don't have any more questions, then we'll wrap up for the day. If you have any questions, do leave a comment and then I can respond to it. Also, I'll be addressing the Diamond Sutra a bit. I'm not going to cover it as yet, but I may consider going through it live as well. Yeah. So let me see. Because moving forward, depending on the state of the COVID-19 virus, if the conditions improve and various Buddhist centers start to reopen, then we resume our normal class. We will probably do the recording and still do it live, but so the format is still more or less the same, except that there will be a live class with me. If not, we'll continue in this format until things improve. So for next week and subsequent weeks, this is what I have in mind. So previously we have put up a poll for people to write down the topics that they are keen on. Yeah, it can be a question that you have. It can be a subject matter. Yeah, whether about life, about the Dharma. Yeah, and then I'll choose one that has the most votes. And the reason for doing that is, for the most part, is because SGC is something that is for you all. Yeah, so it's not for me. Yeah, so it's not like, oh, I have topics that I want to talk about. Yeah, so the topics must be relevant to you all. So I want you all to chime in. Yeah, you can leave it in the comments, and then you all can also look at the comments that people have written and vote on the one. You can just click like on the one that you think is of interest to you. You can click on more than one topic. Yeah, I still don't see any topics coming in. Yeah, I will just come back to this post before next week to look at the topic. Yeah, so you can continue posting even for those who watch this after the live session. So it's, what time is it now? It's 2:20 something. Okay. Wykid writes, Shifu, relationships are indeed complicated. Breakups can be very painful, and time doesn't always heal. Could you share about how to let go of attachments? Very good. This is my favorite topic. How to let go of attachments. The first thing I want to highlight, as always, is I don't tell people to let go. Yeah, but I understand what you're talking about. I don't mean to say that your question is wrong, but I don't usually tell people or teach people how to let go, because for those who have tried to so-called let go, you know that it's not trivial, it's not easy, and oftentimes seemingly impossible. And the reason is because our so-called attachment, there are reasons for that. Whether it's past experiences, familiarity, a sense of familiarity. You'll be surprised, the things we are attached to are not necessarily the kind of wow, super sparks in the sky, you know. Oftentimes, the very deep-seated attachments are about a very prolonged duration of familiarity, where you just feel so comfortable and so used to it. It's this used to it that gets us really hooked in, you know. So as long as those conditions are there, has not changed, plus our perception of it and the whole package, as long as all those conditions that result in the attachment has not changed, including the way we perceive the object of attachment, be it a person, a job, a position, something, you know, as long as all that whole underlying conditions have not changed, then all our attempts to directly let go of our attachments will be in vain. This much I know. And so instead of directly trying to let go, we'll find that what works better is to not directly try to let go. Instead, spend some time examining the object of our desire, the object of our attachment, of our clinging, of our familiarity. Really closely examine it. This should help us to have a more complete picture of it. Complete picture in what sense? We tend to be one-sided. We tend to be one-sided in the sense the things we are attached to, the circumstances we are attached to, we tend to only look at one side of it. So when we say go and examine that which we are attached to, it means to look at both sides. And if I can cite the sutra, to examine the full gratification, to know exactly what you are attached to and the gratification that it gives us. In simple terms, it's basically what's so good about it. And don't deny yourself, don't try to convince yourself that there's nothing good about it, because that's basically going to the other extreme of denial. And the thing is that when people try to help us, try to give us advice to let go, they always just throw in all the bad things as though there's nothing good. Think about it, if there's really nothing good, are we so stupid to hold on to it if there's absolutely nothing good? Deep down in us, we really think there's something good. So we must really go and examine what is that. Know clearly what is so good about that object of desire, of attachment, that we think is good. Now this is just one part. The other part of the exercise is to then examine the faults and danger, the shortcomings. So this is what we mean by to have a comprehensive view. The other day in NUS, when I was sharing this, one of the students said, I think it was Tommy, and then he was like, oh, so there's a cost-benefit analysis. I said, yeah, exactly. Exactly. The Buddha didn't use the term cost-benefit analysis. He used the terms to go and examine the full gratification, the faults and danger, the true escape. The escape and the way to escape. The escape doesn't mean escapism. The escape here means really be free of it. Not merely just a good idea, a nice idea of letting go, but really when you fully understand it, then you know the approach. Then without Shifu telling you to let go, without you forcing yourself to let go, the way you relate to that object would have changed. Now, I mentioned that day in NUS that perhaps at the end of the reflection, you may find that, hey, but Shifu, after my reflection, the benefit outweighs the cost, Yeah, it does give me some problem, it gives me some headache, it gives me some heartache, but I get so much pleasure, so much more. Then how? Does it mean I shouldn't let go? No, it's not for Shifu to tell you. But what I can tell you is, if that's what you discover, that's what you discover. And if you really think that is true, that whatever you are pursuing give you more benefit than problem, then who am I to tell you that you shouldn't pursue? The question is whether your cost-benefit analysis is actually in line with reality. How do we know? Time will tell. In due time, if your suffer keep on increasing, that means your analysis is wrong, right? That means you are blindsided. It's not about who is right and wrong, It's about whether it's in line with reality. And if it's not in line with reality, then sooner or later, the cost, the faults and danger is going to keep coming up. And how do we know? Only you will know. So Buddhism is, in a very interesting way, a very free religion. We don't force people to be enlightened. We don't force people to be happy. We don't insist that people must be happy the way we think happiness is. But if you ask me, from the teachings, which way is better, then I will say, okay, to see that, to see whether it ultimately gives you true happiness. Shifu, we have learned this in the Heart Sutra class. Yes. Yeah. Not bad. Esther, you still remember what you have learned in the Heart Sutra class? Yeah. But as someone mentioned earlier, yeah, knowing is different from actually doing it. Yeah. So the challenge is, don't immediately try to use it on big things like relationships. Try to work on the small things first. Because if you cannot even utilize it, you cannot even apply it in small things, then of course you're going to fail in the big things. So slowly, yeah, try. Okay, thank you for the question. Yeah, so like it, that's the approach I know of. Yeah, so not directly letting go, but to spend some time to do reflections, contemplations. Yeah, and if I may sort of draw the discussion closer to the topic itself, it's also important to to perhaps use what we shared earlier. Relationships is a two-way thing. Yeah, I always like to use very mundane examples. So imagine a relationship to be like having a meal. Yeah, having a meal, you need two persons to come together, So if the person decide not to come, and then you go there and you still order 2 plates, and then you still talk to the empty seat, can or not? Can. If you want to do that, who am I to tell you to stop, right? But you must know that then you're just eating by yourself, talking to yourself, Yeah. But yes, breakups are painful. Last year or last year, there was a student who went through a breakup. So I asked her, why are you sad? Then she said, then she said, I'm sad because I want to be with him now, but he don't want. He don't want to be with me. So I asked, so what exactly is causing your pain? What exactly is causing the pain? It's the fact that the person didn't choose you, isn't it? At least that's part of it. And so, by right, relationships should bring us happiness. But why is it that the breakup itself can cause us suffering? Yeah. A huge part, at least a significant part of it, is because of the ego. We choose to be with that person, the person don't choose us. Does the person choose to be with someone else? So we are not happy. Or the person just don't choose us, may not choose someone else, choose to be alone. Happier alone than with us. Hello, paiseh leh. Huh? Or you feel hurt, right? Yeah. I don't want to say that is the definite answer. But those of you who have gone through breakup, I want you to spend some time to think about it. Yeah. When people don't choose us, what exactly is it that causes us to feel hurt? Then you may have the answer. Okay, so I think we've covered quite a bit, but relationships are indeed complicated. We can go on for weeks. Yeah. So I think we'll wrap up for now. Yeah. I hope this is helpful. over the years I learned that a huge part of learning Dharma is about recognizing that we are not enlightened. It's about being ready to change ourselves. Recognizing that we are not enlightened means recognizing that we may not get everything right. Because if we think that our way of thinking is right, then there's nothing to change, ma. But you gotta ask yourself, if your way of thinking is right, why are you suffering? Why do we sometimes suffer? Yeah. So be open to change. Yeah. It's not easy, yeah, but try. The Noble Eightfold Path, the Four Noble Truths is like a Dharma vehicle for us to test drive. Yeah, you know test driving? Yeah. You don't have to buy the car yet, ma. Just test drive. Yeah. The teaching is for us to test drive. Meaning, your old way of thinking, don't throw it away first. Yeah. Of course, if you can throw it away and just adopt the Buddha's wisdom immediately, by all means, then next Wednesday 3:35 attain Arahanthood. But if we cannot, then what's the next best thing? We adopt, we try out, we test drive. Yeah. Test drive for one or 2 days, test drive for 1 or 2 weeks now. See what happens. Yeah. So I look forward to the topic request. You all can post it inside this chat so that others can vote on it. If there's no topic, then I really don't know what else to tell you, talk about, because I sometimes have this thought. I shared with the students the other day. Over the years, I increasingly I start to feel everything that has to be taught has been taught by the Buddha. What else can I say? Yeah. So unless you all have some topics that you would like me to touch on, yeah, then we will have some discussion next week. Alright? So let's put our palms together. 愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿得智慧真明了，
愿得智慧真明了，
不愿罪障悉消除，
不愿罪障悉消除，
世世常行菩萨道。
世世常行菩萨道。
阿弥陀佛。
阿弥陀佛。
起立。